Welcome to Restoria, your cozy corner for gentle bedtime stories. My name is James and I'll be your host tonight. Every night, we bring you peaceful tales designed to calm your mind and help you drift off into a deep, restful sleep. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let the story begin. The story tonight is called The Moonlit Kitchen. Chapter 1. The Last Lantern. The sky is the color of tea, left steeping too long. Not dark yet, but definitely not day. Just that soft in-between when everything begins to quiet down. Clara walks slowly. Not because she's tired, though she is, but because there's nowhere she needs to be. Not really. She's been following a winding road for most of the afternoon, the kind that slips between hedgerows and bends just when you think it might end. The village she passed earlier was small. A few houses, a shop with its lights off, and one last street lamp glowing like a held breath. After that, the road faded into path, and the path into something smaller still. Now, she's among trees. Their leaves silvered by dusk. The air is cooler here, wrapped in the hush of branches and distant birds settling in for the night. Clara doesn't know what she's looking for. A place to pause, maybe. A kind place. Somewhere not loud. She turns a gentle corner and there it is. Tucked among the trees, warm with light, stands a wooden building like something from a forgotten story. Sloped roof. Window boxes filled with thyme and trailing ivy. Smoke curling from a short chimney that smells faintly of bread and rosemary. Over the door, a hand-carved sign swings in the breeze. The Moonlit Kitchen. Supper first, slumber after. Clara stops. Not because she doubts, but because something about it feels like an invitation. Not shouted, just offered. She steps up to the door. It opens with the softest creak. Inside, the light is low and golden. There are no harsh bulbs, just candles and little lanterns nestled into shelves. The wooden floor is warm underfoot, and the walls seem to glow. There are no crowds, no clatter, only the quiet murmur of someone humming in the kitchen and the faintest sound of a spoon stirring something warm. Clara doesn't see a menu or a host, but before she can wonder what to do, a gentle voice calls from the back. Just one tonight? She nods, surprised by how natural it feels to answer. A man steps into view, wearing a soft linen apron and a smile that feels like exhaling. His hair is salt and pepper. His hands look strong but careful, like they know how to handle dough and delicate things alike. "I'm Milo," he says. "Welcome in." He leads her to a small table near a window, cracked open to the evening breeze. A candle flickers beside a vase of chamomile and mint. "You look like you've been traveling with your shoulders," he says kindly. "Soup will help." Clara doesn't know what that means, but she nods anyway. Her shoulders do ache now that he's mentioned it. Milo disappears into the kitchen. The scent of roasted garlic, sweet herbs, and something slightly citrusy drifts into the room. Music plays faintly from somewhere soft piano, slow and low, like a conversation meant just for the air. When the soup arrives, it's in a deep clay bowl, steaming gently. Chamomile, lentil, Milo says, with sleepy spice and a little lemon balm. Clara holds the spoon for a moment before tasting it. The heat seeps into her fingers. Then the first cypric, soft, grounding. The flavor is full without being loud. She feels her chest loosen, just slightly. He brings fresh bread next. Still warm. Spread with something pale and fragrant. Lavender butter, he says. Clara eats slowly. Not because she's trying to savor it, but because her body has already decided to slow down. Each bite seems to press gently on something inside her that forgot how to rest. She doesn't even realize her eyes are growing heavy until Milo returns with desserta, cinnamon plum tart, and a small cup of honey tea custard. He sets them down with care, then looks at her kindly. "There's no bill," he says. "Just a question." Clara blinks. "A question?" Milo nods. "Would you like to rest a while?" The words land gently, like something she hadn't known she was waiting to hear. She nods. He smiles. "Your room is ready." He leads her up a narrow staircase lit with tiny glass lanterns. The hall smells like cedar and clean linen. He opens a door into a small room where the bed is tucked under the eaves and the windows look out onto treetops and moonlight. The quilt is already turned down. "The sheets smell like sleep," Milo says with a wink. Clara smiles for the first time in days. He leaves her with a whisper of good night and the soft click of the door. She changes slowly, folding her clothes neatly at the chair. The bed is cool and then warm, just like it should be. The pillow is soft. Her breath deepens without effort. Outside, the kitchen hums gently below. Somewhere, Milo is already preparing the next gentle meal. And Clara, wrapped in a quilt that feels like a hug, lets the quiet carry her into sleep. Because here, at the Moonlit kitchen, supper is never the end of the day. It's the beginning of your dreams. Chapter 2, The Quilt and the Quiet. Clara doesn't wake all at once. It's a slow drift upward, like surfacing from warm water. Her first thought is that the room smells like chamomile and wood smoke. The second is that her body doesn't hurt. Not the usual ache in her back. Not the weight in her chest. Just a quiet kind of stillness. A soft reset. The quilt is tucked around her shoulders, holding a perfect warmth. She turns her head and sees the window slightly open. The curtain flutters gently. Birds are chirping, but not in a hurry. Even the morning sounds here feel slow. She blinks at the ceiling beams, watching a speck of dust float lazily in a sunbeam. No alarms. No rush. When she finally sits up, her feet touch a rug soft as moss. Her clothes are folded on a chair. A small note rests beside them. There's tea waiting in the garden. Come when you're ready. M. She smiles. Downstairs, the kitchen smells like roasted peaches and butter. The sound of a pan being gently stirred. Something simmering low and sweet. Clara finds her way out back, past the hallway where the lanterns are still glowing faintly, past the shelves filled with jars of herbs, each labeled in a looping hand. Evening mint, rain thyme, drowsy basil. The garden behind the moonlit kitchen is more than a garden. It's a soft world of its own. Wild but cared for. Lavender grows in curved lines along the path. Wooden chairs sit beneath willow trees. Bees drift lazily from bloom to bloom, as if even they are allowed to rest here. Milo is already there. He's setting a tray on a small table. Tea. Sliced bread. Something golden and baked, steaming faintly. Morning, he says, not looking up. You slept like someone who needed to. Clara laughs softly, still blinking sleep from her eyes. I did. She sits across from him, and he pours the tea. Chamomile, honey. A hint of lemon balm, he says. For staying soft a little longer, they eat quietly. The bread is soft and tastes of cinnamon. The air smells like sunlit herbs. Neither of them rushes. People always ask what I put in the food, Milo says after a while. The truth is, I just listen. Listen to what? Clara asks. He shrugs, smiling. The day, the wind, what someone carries when they walk through the door. Clara nods slowly. That sounds like something I didn't know I needed to hear. He pours her more tea. The cup warms her fingers again. I think most people who come here are looking for something they can't name, he says. They don't always know they're tired. I didn't, Clara says softly. Milo just gives a knowing smile. The wind moves through the garden gently, making the leaves rustle like a soft breath. Clara finishes her tea. She looks around, taking in the little corners of calm. The stone path. The herbs tucked into wooden crates. The birds bathing in the ceramic bowl near the wall. She doesn't want to leave. But she knows she will. That's what makes the rest feel real. Before she goes, Milo presses a small package into her hands. Wrapped in cloth. Tied with simple twine. What is it? She asks. A loaf, he says. The kind that travels well? So when the road feels long again, you'll remember how to rest. Clara holds it close. Thank you. Milo nods. Come back anytime. The kitchen doesn't sleep. She steps down the path into the gold of the morning. Her shoulders are lighter. Her breath deeper. and in the quiet that follows, the moonlit kitchen hums on. Somewhere inside, Milo stirs a new pot of soup. The table is set. Another dream is waiting to be fed. Chapter 3. Bread for the Road. Clara walks for a while before she realizes her steps have changed. They're quieter, slower, like the rhythm of her body has remembered something old and important. The wrapped loaf is tucked into her satchel. It still feels warm. Every so often, she presses her hand against the cloth, just to be sure it's still there. Not out of fear, just comfort. The forest path looks different now. Maybe it always did, and she just couldn't see it before. The leaves shimmer with a kind of sleepy green. The light through the branches dapples like spilled tea. There's no sound of cars. No rush in the wind. Only her breath and bird song and the soft hush of her feet. She doesn't know where she's going next. She doesn't mind. There's a clearing not far off the path. Just a little dip in the land where moss grows thick and inviting. Clara pauses there. She sits. She opens the bundle. Inside is a small loaf, round and golden. The crust is crisp, flecked with rosemary. She tears off a piece. Still warm. It tastes like peace. Like the quiet from the kitchen has followed her. She eats slowly, watching the clouds drift. Nothing pulls at her. No plans. No noise. A bird lands nearby. Small, round, curious. It tilts its head, hops once, and watches her without asking anything. She tears off a tiny crumb and places it on the moss. The bird pecks at it, nods once, then flies off. Clara laughs quietly. She feels like she's part of something. Not a story. Just the world, unfolding the way it wants to. She finishes the bread, wraps the cloth gently, stands. The wind has shifted. Not cold, just different. Like it's waiting. She follows it, not because she needs to, but because she trusts it now. The path winds on. Later, much later, in a different village entirely, a boy will wander into the moonlit kitchen. He'll be tired but won't know why. He'll eat soup that tastes like home, even though he's far from it. And when Milo offers a room, the boy won't hesitate. Upstairs, a quilt will wait. And downstairs, in the soft-lit kitchen, dough will rise in a wooden bowl. Herbs will be chopped with a rhythm slower than breath. Something warm will fill the air. The moonlit kitchen will keep on glowing, steady as a star behind clouds. Because peace doesn't need to be rare, just quiet enough to find. And always, supper first, slumber after. Chapter 4. The Light That Waits. It's the kind of evening that seems to fold the world inward. Fog rests in the hollows of the hills. Windows glow in small cottages like lanterns cupped in gentle hands. And on the edge of the woods, where the silver-leaved trees lean just a little closer to each other, the moonlit kitchen breathes in quiet rhythm. Inside, Milo is kneading dough. The room is filled with a warm hushinly, the soft sounds of flour being turned, of a kettle beginning to murmur, of wood shifting in the stove. The sky outside the kitchen window is a deepening blue. There are no guests tonight. Not yet. And that's fine. The bread still rises. The soup still simmers. The quiet still wraps itself around the walls like a favorite blanket. Milo doesn't rush. He never does. He stirs a pot of lentil and lemon balm stew, adds a splash of cream, and tastes it with a small silver spoon. His eyes close. He nods once. He lights the lanterns one by one. Each gives off a golden glow, soft and round, casting gentle light on the wooden counters and low beams. A clean table is set with 4 place settings, just in case. He doesn't expect anyone. But he's learned that the ones who need rest most never send word ahead. Outside, the wind carries the scent of thyme and ash. Somewhere far down the path, shoes press softly against earth. A figure in a pale coat pauses beneath the first lantern. A scarf is tugged loose. Shoulders rise with a deep breath. Then lower. The figure walks on. Milo is folding napkins when the door opens. He looks up, unsurprised. A man stands there, maybe 30, maybe more. His eyes are rimmed with something that isn't quite sleep and isn't quite sorrow. He blinks slowly, as if unsure whether this place is real. "Come in," Milo says. There's room. The man steps inside. He shrugs off his coat, runs a hand through damp hair, and sits without speaking. Milo brings a bowl of soup, a slice of oat bread, a cup of tea that smells like pear and clove. The man eats slowly. Between bites, he looks around. This place. He begins, then stops. It feels like it was waiting. Milo nods. Sometimes it is. They don't talk more than that. Later, when the bowl is empty and the cup is drained, Milo offers the question, "Would you like to rest a while?" The man nods. His voice is too far down to speak. Milo leads him upstairs to a room with a low window and a bed made up in navy quilts. The lantern is already lit. The man steps inside, pauses in the doorway. "It smells like peace?" Milo just smiles. Downstairs, the kitchen doesn't slow. It continues gently, pot by pot, breath by breath, because sometimes peace is quiet. Sometimes it's bread. Sometimes it's knowing someone will walk through your door without needing to explain why they're tired. And when they do, the light will already be waiting. Chapter 5. The Shelf of Small Things. Morning comes with silver fog. It drapes over the trees like lace, quieting birdsong and softening the world. The moonlit kitchen glows from within, its windows golden and low. Milo is already awake. He moves through the kitchen barefoot, his steps silent over warm floorboards. The kettle hums. A pan sizzles gently with butter and apple slices. On the counter, dough rests under a linen cloth, rising slowly with the morning. Upstairs, the guest still sleeps. Milo doesn't disturb him. Instead, he pulls down a small wooden box from the top shelf. It's carved from dark cherry wood, the edges smooth from years of use. Inside are folded slips of paper, some yellowed with time, some still crisp. He adds a new one. Arrived at dusk, ate slowly, slept without dreaming, left before sunrise, looked lighter. He folds it, places it among the others. There's a shelf in the hallway near the stairs. It looks like a simple bookshelf, but if you look closely, you'll see it's filled with objects that don't quite match tiny keepsakes left behind by those who pass through. A river stone smoothed to a perfect oval. A child's drawing of stars. A small jar of marigold petals. A train ticket dated 10 years past. Milo runs a finger across each one as he walks by. Not checking. Just remembering. Everyone leaves something he's learned. Even if it's invisible. Even if it's just the weight they no longer carry. He pours himself tea and steps outside. The garden is misted over. Everything smells like damp earth and mint. He sits on the bench beneath the willow and breathes in. The man comes down the path not long after. His coat is on. His eyes are clearer. "Thank you," he says, not loudly. "I didn't know I needed to stop." Milo nods. Most people don't. The man walks to the gate. He pauses. Looks back. Is it always open? Milo tilts his head. Only to those who are quiet enough to find it. And with that, the man is gone. Later that day, a girl with paint on her fingers will step through the door. She won't say a word. She'll only nod. Milo will set the table. Brew nettle tea. Serve roasted root stew with rosemary biscuits. He doesn't ask. He doesn't need to. By nightfall, another candle will be lit upstairs. Another quilt turned down. Another name not written but remembered. And on the shelf of small things, perhaps a button will appear. Or a feather. Or nothing at all. Still, the space will hold it. Because at the moonlit kitchen, what matters most isn't what's left behind, but how gently we carry each other forward. Chapter 7. Supper first, slumber after. Evening settles in like a story being told softly. One sentence at a time. The rain has passed. The windows are clear again, touched with dusk and trailing ivy. Inside the moonlit kitchen, Milo prepares the night's meal with a quiet kind of joy. He roasts squash and onion in olive oil and thyme, simmers lentils with smoked salt and sweet herbs, kneads dough for a bread that will taste like remembering. The candlelight deepens. The room breathes. Someone will come. Milo doesn't know who. He never does. But someone always does. Just as the bread is rising, the bell above the door gives a soft chime. A woman steps inside. She's young, but her posture is tired. Her shoes are clean, but her eyes are not. She looks around as if unsure whether she's allowed to be here. "You are," Milo says, as if she's asked aloud. He gestures to a seat. She sinks into it. No words at first. Just breath. Milo brings her a small cup of rosemary broth. "Start here," he says. "Let the rest come after." She sips. Her hands stop shaking. Soon, a plate arrives. Roasted squash. Bread warm from the oven. A soft wedge of custard pie with cardamom and plum. Each bite is a pause. Each pause becomes peace. Milo moves quietly, washing dishes, checking the bread. He does not fill the space with chatter. The space knows how to hold itself. When she's done, she looks up. Her voice is soft. "I didn't realize I was so tired." Milo only nods. "You're not alone in that." He brings a candle. "A key? Your room is ready if you'd like to rest a while." The woman takes the key in both hands. She doesn't speak again, but she stands, walks the stairs slowly, pauses in the hallway to touch a shelf of small things, a button, a jar of petals, a folded drawing. She chooses the room with the pale yellow quilt. When she lies down, her body melts into the mattress like it's known it forever. The lantern flickers. The window is open to the trees. Somewhere nearby, a night bird sings one long note. Below, the kitchen remains. The kettle cools. The bread rests. The chipped cup waits for another night. And Milo, in his quiet way, tidies the space as if preparing it for the next person who doesn't know they need to arrive. Supper first. Slumber after. Always. At the Moonlit kitchen, peace is not just something you feel. It's something you're fed. And when the candlelight finally fades, it doesn't go out. It just makes room for dreams.